Every country on earth is in debt. The United States owes over $34 trillion. Japan's debt is more than twice its entire economy. Even Switzerland, the world's financial safe haven, owes billions. But wait, if everyone is in debt, then who exactly is the money owed to? This question sounds simple, but the answer reveals how the global financial system really works. It's not just about numbers, it's about trust, power, and how money moves through the world. When you hear the phrase national debt, you might imagine a country borrowing from another country, like the US borrowing from China, but that's only part of the story. Most of a nation's debt is actually money it owes to itself. Here's how it works. Governments need money to pay for things: roads, healthcare, education, defense. To get that money, they issue bonds, basically IOUs, and promise to pay back with interest later. Who buys those bonds? Citizens, banks, pension funds, insurance companies, and yes, sometimes foreign investors too. So when the US government owes money, a big part of that debt is held by Americans themselves. In fact, about 70% of US debt is owned domestically by the Federal Reserve, mutual funds, and even retirement accounts. In other words, when the US owes money, much of that money is owed to Americans. Now, what about the other 30%? That's where things get interesting. Foreign governments like Japan, China, and the United Kingdom hold trillions in US bonds, but they don't do it because they want to own America. They do it because US debt is considered one of the safest investments on earth. If you're a country with extra cash, you want to put it somewhere reliable, and US treasuries are backed by the world's largest economy and the most trusted currency, the dollar. So while Americans worry about being in debt to China, the truth is, China also relies on US bonds to protect its own wealth. It's a mutual dependency. The money flows both ways, through a network of trust that holds the global economy together. Here's the paradox. Almost every nation is both a borrower and a lender. The US borrows from Japan. Japan borrows from the US, and both lend money to smaller countries. It's not a pyramid, it's a circle, or more accurately, a web. This system keeps global money moving. Debt allows governments to fund growth today instead of waiting for decades of savings. And as long as investors believe a country can repay its loans, the system works. That belief, that trust, is the true backbone of modern finance. Without it, economies would freeze overnight. With it, the world keeps turning. But debt isn't free. Every dollar borrowed has to be paid back with interest. When interest rates rise, governments spend more just to cover those payments. In 2024, the United States spent over $1 trillion just on interest. That's more than it spends on defense. If borrowing costs keep climbing, governments will have to make tough choices: raise taxes, cut programs, or borrow even more. And that's the danger. Debt isn't a problem until it becomes one. It's safe until trust breaks. History has shown that when investors lose confidence, even rich nations can face crisis overnight. So who does the world really owe? Not one country, not one person. In the end, the world owes itself. Your pension fund, my savings account, a foreign bank, all connected through the same invisible threads of debt and trust. The money doesn't disappear. It just moves from one balance sheet to another, from one promise to the next. And that's the quiet truth about global debt. It's not a countdown to collapse. It's the machine that keeps our economies alive. I'm Felix, and this is how the world really works. Thanks for watching.